time. I will see you then, next time. It is now the time that is next, and the time that was then, it was introducing the time that is next. It is next now.
Today's drum beat, we're just going to be working with what we learned in the last lesson. In the last lesson, or a few lessons back, we talked about the death metal drum roll, the quick roll. And basically, you're going to have to go back and look at that before you do this. We're just going to apply that into a drum beat this time instead of on the toms. So I guess it's better just to show you what I mean by that instead of just talking about it. So here we go. The way that we're making this drum roll work into a beat is just how we fit it into a drum beat, and I'll show you how that works in a very slow pattern. So when I slow this drum beat down, I'm going to show you what it sounds like. And again, let me remind you that at the beginning of this drum lesson, when I showed you the drum beat that we're going to be learning, the double bass pattern is a triple instead of a double. So when I'm explaining this to you, I'm explaining it to you in a double pattern, because I know that a lot of the drummers that are my subscribers have difficulties with the single pedal slide technique, so I'm making this lesson for everybody. So if you know how to do the single pedal slide technique and you can add a triplet onto that, then by all means go for that. It makes it sound incredible. But right now we're just going to be talking about the drummers that are pretty comfortable with the double bass, and they've got a decent flam. That's what you need on the bass this time around, is a good flam on the double bass. So anyways, this is what it sounds like at a very slow speed. All you're going to be doing is playing that death metal roll that we learned in a couple lessons back, the quick rolls. So be sure you go back and watch that. Only we're crossing over the first note of that beat, or the first beat of that beat is going to be on the right, and you're just crossing over from the snare and back over to the right again. And the best way to show you is just to explain it to you. And in the middle of the crossover from the ride to the snare, you're going to be playing that double bass flam and to the roll, and then back to the double bass flam to the right again. So just pretend like the double bass flam is kind of a bridge in between your snare and your ride. So anyways, I'm going to show it to you slow again, and then we're going to speed it up, and this is how it's played. Okay, that's all this drum beat is. Just pretending that you have a bridge in between your ride and your snare, and in order to get there and to pass this whole thing back and forth between the snare and the ride is to use that double bass flam. You're doing that 1, 2, 3, 4 on the snare, bass, bass, ride again, and you're just tossing it back and forth. And the very last, just add a strike on the snare in there to make the beat fit together. Okay, so I hope this nifty little drum beat worked for you, and it's a really cool thing to apply to your drumming, add to your library that you play on the drums with your drumsticks and heads and cymbals and snare drum, bass drum, ride, hi.